missed it by that much. Hello, everyone. Welcome to After Action Report, your numbers recap show for all Showdown matches to keep you caught up on all the action. I'm your host, Megs. Today, we're going to be talking about all the matches from this last week, including that pay-per-view event. So we have a total of 4 matches, and that pay-per-view event featured a title match that went down in a way I was not expecting. Looking at the matches that we saw this week, there was the Star Wars Tournament semifinal with Alex Damon facing off against Nikki DiMolanta, another DiMolanta-Damon matchup. We move into the semifinals of the Teams Tournament, where we have Deception facing off against King Arthur. Moving into the second round of the Singles Tournament, we saw Paul Oyama facing off against the Barbarian. And our Versus pay-per-view event, a studio match between Shazam and Lightning Time for the Teams title. As I was looking through these matches, and as you'll see when I break them down, many of these matches came down to one moment, and everything that came after that was just too little, too late. Before we move into the rest of this show, please make sure that you hit that like button. If you are not subscribed to this channel, please make sure that you hit that button as well as the notification bell so you're made aware every time we drop a new video on this channel. And also check out our channel on Twitch for all the great content over there. We're going to start off this week in the semifinal of the Star Wars Tournament, where we see a familiar face, Alex Damon, facing off against a DiMolanta, but not the DiMolanta that he's been facing previously. This is Nikki DiMolanta. Coming out of round 1, neither of them are able to get a perfect round. They both miss the 4th and 7th question, but Alex also misses that second question, which brings the total 8-7. Nikki is up going into our second round, where we see that Nikki defers to have Alex spin first. He spins away from the Phantom Menace and ends up spinning Spinner's Choice, where he takes A New Hope, which doesn't turn out exactly the way he had hoped, where he is able to come away with only 5 out of 10 points, checks down to multiple choice twice, misses a multiple choice and a 2-point question, where the multiple choice question is stolen by Nikki for 1 point. We go over to Nikki, who spins away from The Force Awakens and ends up spinning Spinner's Choice as well. She decides to take Rogue One, where she is able to sweep the round for the full 10 points. This gives Nikki a gain of 6 points to now be up 7, 19-12, going into the third round, where we see that Alex hits a 2-pointer in quotes, misses a 3-pointer in Heroes, but avoids the TKO by hitting a 5-pointer in A New Hope. That does bounce it over to Nikki, who only has to hit her 2-pointer in Jedi Order to give Nikki the win with a final score of 21-19, where Alex Damon answered 12 of 18 questions for 67% accuracy and scored 61% of 31 available points. Nikki DiMolanta answered 15 of 18 questions for 83% accuracy and scored 81% of 26 available points. So it seems that the DiMolantas just have the Damon's number, as Nikki DiMolanta soars through this tournament to get her chance in the final of this tournament against Gold Leader. But hopefully Alex can rebound next season and come back strong, as he is still adjusting, as is everybody, to the complexity of questions that they asked for in this very tight and competitive Star Wars division. We are going to move into the next semifinal that we saw this week. This was the Teams Tournament with Deception facing off against rookie team King Arthur. Coming out of round 1, King Arthur is up by 4, 16-12, where Nooms is the only one who's able to get that perfect round plus the bonus. Khan not far behind him with 7 points, and Marisol and Adam both coming away with 6 points, and both of them missing the exact same questions. In round number 2, King Arthur elects to spin first. They spin away from James Stewart and end up taking Guillermo del Toro, where they are able to come away with 10 out of 12 points. They checked on a multiple choice twice, but they don't give away any steal opportunities. Over to Deception that spin away from martial arts movies, and they end up taking Angela Bassett, where they sweep this round for the full 12 out of 12 points. Deception does gain 2 points in this round. However, King Arthur is still up by 2, 26-24, going into the third round. where Adam is able to hit a 2-pointer in martial arts. This bounces it over to King Arthur, where Khan hits a 2-pointer in modern classics. Over to Marisol for a 3-pointer in Quentin Tarantino. She is able to hit that. That bounces it back over to Arthur Nooms to hit a 3-pointer in the 1990s. Deception is able to hit their 5-pointer in remakes and reboots. That bounces it over to King Arthur, who is also able to hit their 5-pointer in action adventure. And this does give King Arthur the win with a final score of 36-34, where Deception answered 21 of 25 questions for 84% accuracy and scored 85% of 40 available points. King Arthur answered 25 of 26 questions for 96% accuracy and scored 90% of 40 available points. So we see after round 1, Deception doesn't miss any available points. They go the full 12 out of 12 in round 1. They hit all 10 points there in that final round. However, King Arthur was also not giving any inch of wiggle room for Deception to be able to get ahead. So after that round 1, it was too little too late for Deception to be able to overtake that lead that King Arthur had, and King Arthur will be advancing into the finals of this team's tournament. So we move on over into the singles division with Primetime Paul Oyama facing off against the Barbarian. So we see that Paul Oyama is up by 1, 8-7. Oyama does get that perfect round, but is unable to hit the bonus, so there is still only a 1-point advantage moving into the second round. Paul defers to have Barbarian spin first, who spins away from monster movies, ends up spinning opponent's choice, and is given YA adaptations by Paul. Barbarian is able to sweep this round for the full 8 points. Paul spins away from comedies and ends up taking monster movies, where he's able to come away with 5 out of 8 points, checks down to multiple choice twice, misses one of those questions, but it is not able to be stolen by the Barbarian. This does give Barbarian a gain of 3 points, however, to be up by 2, 15-13. In the third round, Paul hits a 2-pointer in comedies. This bounces it over to Barbarian to hit his 2-pointer in the 1990s. Back over to Oyama for a 3-pointer in the 1970s, which he is able to hit. And the Barbarian also hits his 3-pointer in Leonardo DiCaprio. It's back over to Paul for a 5-pointer in thrillers. Unfortunately, he is unable to hit that, which does give Barbarian the win with a final score of 20-18. Where Paul Oyama answered 13 of 16 questions for 81% accuracy and scored 67% of 27 available points. The Barbarian answered 13 of 15 questions for 87% accuracy and scored 87% of 23 available points. So we see that this match was a nice back and forth, starting off with Paul being ahead, then Barbarian overtaking there in that round 2, and Paul just missing out on that 5-pointer to not force the Barbarian to have to hit his as well. Something interesting to note, looking at the accuracies for the singles competitors in this season that have competed in 3 matches or more, we see that Oyama and Barbarian are 3rd and 4th, respectively, in highest accuracies in the league. Again, for this season only, and for competitors that have competed in 3 matches or more. But that is enough about this match. We're going to move right into that pay-per-view, so if you don't want to be spoiled for that, this is your spoiler warning. As I said before, this is the title match of Shazam facing off against the challengers Lightning Time. Coming out of round 1, Shazam is up by 2, 13-11. With Brendan Meyer hitting 7 points, Bibiani and Ethan hitting 6 points, and Liz only able to come away with 5 points in this round. So no one is able to get the perfect round, but Shazam is still up, moving into the second round, where we see that Shazam defers to have Lightning Time spin first, and they decide to take directors on their first spin. They come away with 10 out of 12 points, checking down to multiple choice once, misses that question, and it is stolen by Shazam. Moving over into Shazam's spin, they spin away from dystopian future and time travel and end up taking Alfred Hitchcock. They come away with 10 out of 12 points. They miss one 2-point question, which is stolen for 2 points by Lightning Time. So this does, with the steals, give Lightning Time the gain of 1. However, Shazam is still up by 1, 24-23, going into the betting round. And this is where things start to get interesting. Shazam spins mixed bag. Both teams bet for 3 points. Shazam hits their question. Unfortunately, Lightning Time misses it. So this gives a 6-point swing in this round to where Shazam is now up by 7, 27-20. Coming into the speed round, we see that Brendan Meyer hits the first question, Ethan Irwin missing the second question, William Bibiani hitting the next 2 questions correct, and Ethan Irwin buzzes in on the 5th and final question, missing it, which does give Shazam 3 points in this round and Lightning Time a -2, which does give Shazam a gain of 5 points to where they are now up by 12. That does give Shazam the win and the KO victory with a final score of 30-18, where Shazam answered 23 of 27 questions for 85% accuracy and scored 77% of 39 available points, where Lightning Time answered 17 of 26 questions for 65% accuracy and scored 45% of 40 available points. Now, I can't think of anyone who could have predicted that this match would have ended via KO. TKO, maybe, but a KO in a title match is very hard to come by. Now, something of interest to note with the betting round and the speed round, seeing how everything went down. Even if Lightning Time had been able to hit that betting round question, meaning they wouldn't have lost or gained any points coming out of that round, given how the speed round shook out, Lightning Time still would have been down by 6 points going into that final championship round. So whether or not they would have been able to do the reverse sweep and come away with the win is unlikely given the pedigree and the track record of Shazam, but crazier things have happened, as we clearly saw today. And that's going to do it for this week's episode, but don't you worry, I'm going to be right back here next Monday covering all the matches from this week. Please make sure that you are leaving comments on this video, or if you'd rather interact on social media, check out the links in the description of this video. And also, all of the breakdowns for the matches that I present here, they're going to be posted on the MTS Facebook page, as well as the Twitter and Facebook pages for Call to Action, so be sure to check those out. So until next time, for the entire Call to Action podcast crew, I'm your host, Megs, and this is After Action Report, signing off.